Welcome back to the Realistic Cattle Ranch Challenge on Sunshine Forest. I'm BP, and it's time to get to work. The beautiful April morning here on the ranch, guys. Just getting the milk put into the dairy. I think it's worth going around and grabbing the buffalo milk. We only collect it a couple times a year. There isn't very much, but over in the breeding barn, we're up to 1,000 liters. So we might even be able to get a pallet of buffalo mozzarella out of our total amount that we have. So let's go through, grab that real quick, and then we have a couple of projects to do. Got to get the cows sold today. I pulled those silage bales out of the shed because we got to get them in the TMR mixing station to get more TMR made. So we'll get the Massey out and grab those and get those put in when we're done with our first couple of projects here. So buffalo milk, 1,112 liters of buffalo milk in the breeding barn. And over in the birthing barn, I don't know how much we have. I haven't checked, but usually they're fairly similar. So if we get up to 2,000 liters of buffalo milk out of this, we would be in good shape. So yeah, another 1,100. So we're at 2,239 liters of buffalo milk. Should be enough to get us up and going. So get this back over here, and then we have some exciting news to share with you guys, some developments overnight. I just walked out on the ranch this morning and was super excited to what I found, so we'll share that with you guys next. So here we are. Let's go ahead and get the buffalo milk emptied out. That is just about perfect. So, the surprise we ran into this morning, our cabin has reached the next stage of production. So I want to take you guys up and show you real quick. Grass field is looking really good. Do need to get some liming done on that today. But look at this, guys. Our cabin foundation is in place. So we are ready for the next stage. It requires 1 pallet of long planks and 4 pallets of wood beams. I did run down to the sawmill this morning and confirm we have the long planks, but we only have 3 of the 4 wood beams that we're going to need. So I think we got to run down, find a tree, cut it down, and put it into the sawmill this morning so we can have a beam by the end of the episode and get the cabin back up and progressing. So here we are heading down to the area we're trying to get cleared out. I want to drop a tree somewhere on this side so we can start bringing that wheat field in closer. So I think the best one is going to be this one right here. See if we get the angle. Whole goal is to get it to fall right into the trigger. Let's see how we did. Perfect. All right, get rid of the stump. We don't want to leave any stumps laying around because eventually this will be our field. That went really well. All right, so we have wood in there now. Let's jump into the production, and we need to make some wood beams. So, and we should be, let's see, 125 liters already, so that is in good shape. We're going to crank up the production just a little bit, make sure it gets done for this episode. So that is done. Let's run back and grab the Massey and get that silage put into the TMR mixer. This tree on the field edge probably should go long term, but we don't quite have the ease of access. Oh, the pens are open. Well, I should say the pens are closed. The area in front of the pens is open. I did get all of the igloos mucked out this morning. We had a couple that were full Guys, I moved another 20 animals from the birthing barn out, so cows and calves. We have every one of our, what is that, 8 calf huts is full except for this one. This one only has 4 animals, so we have 1 spot remaining for calves. It's getting to be an absolute... the calves are a menace as far as the space that we have available for them. So let's go ahead, grab the Massey, grab the bale spikes, and let's get our silage bales moved over to TMR production. I think we have enough TMR to fill up the mixing truck today, but I think moving forward might be a bit of a challenge. And I feel like the bales are very, very uncooperative recently. Should we just try 2? Are we going too heavy? Is that the deal? This little Massey's been able to handle everything we throw at it, but even look now, the bales are a little jiggly up there for no apparent reason. I got them tipped all the way back, forked at the bottom. Seems like we should be in good shape as far as the bales go, getting them moved, but they do seem to be putting up a little bit of a fight. All right, those 2 went in nice and easy. Go back and grab our other 2 bales, I guess we have 3. Guess we'll take 2 trips and just not push it since 2 went well. So all 5 of these bales are 15,000 liters. So we're putting 75,000 liters of silage into the TMR mixer, which is great. Going to produce a whole bunch of TMR, which we're going to need. What's interesting, if you guys remember, it was last year, so probably 8 months ago at this point, we made the decision to stop moving the pregnant cows out of the breeding barn until they were at 90% gestation. Those cows that we made that decision with last year are now at 80% gestation. So next month they get moved. We have our first batch in almost a year of cows, pregnant cows, that are going to get moved into the birthing barns. The birthing barns started with a whole bunch of animals, but we didn't want to keep them on TMR the whole time they were pregnant. They weren't producing milk. So we have been slowly dwindling the numbers in the birthing barn. But those numbers are about to go back up once we start moving pregnant females at the 90% gestation rate out of the breeding barn. So we have a lot of things coming up, a lot of changes. So right now, 107 animals in here, and we're down to 59 animals in the birthing barn. So that number is gonna start going back up, which is great news, and we want to continue growing the herd. Just, as always, a bit of a project. So what do we want to do next? Oh, I was going to come check on... we have these silage bales over here. They have to be fermented. I mean, there's just no way that they're not fermented at this stage. Let's see. Keep getting the trigger and it keeps disappearing. Yeah, so those are all ready to go. Wonder what the key is. Yeah, to unwrap them is... oh, didn't want to get in. Wrong button. So let's see. Keep hitting the wrong button. All right, missed 1 or 2. All right, so we have all of those, and we're gonna do this the easy way. We have the right equipment to do it. I love using the Massey, but not looking to make a bunch of trips back and forth. Let's grab the TLX and the step deck trailer. Go grab our silage. And let's throw it into... do I want to throw it in the shed, or do I want to throw it right into the TMR mixer? It probably is the last batch of silage that we're going to need. on this playthrough. You know, with another, I mean, what's over there? Probably, we'll cut that corner really badly. Let's be better than that, guys. I mean, let's say there's 10 or 12 bales over there, another 150,000 liters of silage, plus the hay and the straw for when we make the TMR. I mean, we're looking at 200, probably 250 plus thousand liters of TMR out of what's over there right now. So probably, you know, we've had the discussion about the big equipment on the small ranch, and here we are today living that dream, trying to get this big truck and trailer to squeeze through small openings. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 bales. So yeah, we have just an absolute boatload of silage. That is a funny way to stack those on the trailer. So I think we take these right over and we put them right into the TMR mixer and have them ready to go. We certainly won't be able to use them now, but as we add more hay and more straw from our harvest of the wheat, we'll add the straw, and then hay we can obviously cut on our grass fields that are growing in. We will have an absolute boatload of silage ready to go. Alright, so these are coming off nicely. So let's take a quick look at what that's going to end up being for us. So in the mixer right now, we have 142,000 liters of silage. That's going to translate into, so it's 400 silage, so it more than doubles it, right? So that's 40%, so times 2.5. So you're basically 300. I mean, we're looking at 350,000 liters of TMR out of what we have there. So I suspect that is the last bit of silage we're going to need to reach our goals on the ranch. We certainly can make some more, wouldn't be a problem, but it is nice to feel like we've got ourselves set up for success as we're heading into what I would consider to be sort of the third and final chapter of this playthrough. So, jump in here, disconnect that. I think we're done with the TLX unless we want to run up to the BGA, which we've done a bunch of times. So, instead of running up to the BGA, what do we want to do, guys? Well, oh, we have to sell the cattle. That's right. Gotta remember what we talked about doing. So, grab the trailer, jump in here. Our old international pickup truck served us well. Has been an absolute workhorse. Gotta get that tailgate closed. There we go. This was the truck we drove in with the very first day with nothing. It dragged all of our starting equipment, our first purchases back from the shop. We had stuff stacked and strapped everywhere. Lots and lots of fun. So, Sprinkles, 54 months. Cheerful Jupiter, 45 months. And Bubbles, 49 months. Now, guys, I had a great comment on one of the previous videos asking about when to sell animals when using the Realistic Cattle Ranch, or I'm sorry, the Realistic Cattle Ranch, the Realistic Livestock mod. And my answer was twofold. You know, we're choosing to sell the animals right around anywhere over the 40-month mark was sort of the rule we decided. Now, we'll get up there and we'll discuss the pricing of the animals and maybe even take a look at some of our other animals and do a quick comparison. But the short version of my answer was, you know, I would say between 36 and 45 or 50 months is usually a good time to sell them. Now, we have to balance out the fact that let's just call it a 40-month cow, right, is probably just starting to lose some value. They've peaked, and we want to sell them before, you know, they lose too much value. Now, the flip side of that is, let's just say, for ballpark numbers, that cow is worth $4,000. So if I sell it now and I make $4,000, that's great. If I choose to have it go back into our breeding pen and get pregnant and give birth to another animal, that animal is eventually going to be worth, you know, let's call it $4,000 itself. Plus, we get milk out of it. Plus, we're getting manure out of it. And maybe that cow that I let go back into the breeding pen one more time is now worth $3,000. Well, I've lost $1,000 in value, but I've gained an animal that is going to be worth $3,000 more than what I've already lost. So it's a bit of a tricky question. So looking at these animals now, you know, 54 months. Let's see if we can get a quick look at this. This was not a great animal, Sprinkles. You know, overall quality good, metabolism very high, health high, fertility high, quality very high, milk production high. So a decent animal, but for our farm, that's not a great animal. 54 months were $2,677. I would say that animal has lost a significant amount of value compared to, you know, look at Cheerful Jupiter, who's 45 months old and is a very similar condition animal. Has actually the same stats, but just for whatever reason is ranked overall very good instead of high. But has the same number of very highs and the same number of highs as Sprinkles, is worth $4,700. So let's call that a $2,000 swing. Now we have Bubbles, who's 49 months, but is a higher quality animal, all very high or extremely high, still worth $5,800. So if we pop out of the menu here and we go to our cattle, let's just go to the breeding barn because that's where most of our animals are going to be. And let's look at a couple of cows. We have some Holsteins. You know, look at this animal here. 30 months, $4,200. You know, our most expensive animal in the breeding barn is, let's see, 45, 37, anything higher than that. Here's a 58. Charlie is a great looking animal. But, you know, in general, and Charlie is 42 months. So the animals that are the highest price, so $4,700, 49 months, $5,800 at 42 months. So it does look like they're peaking probably just past. Wow, Queen is worth almost $6,000 at 26 months old. That must be a great animal. She's also pregnant. I do wonder if these prices take into account the fact that she's expecting 3 babies, information we don't necessarily have at this point. So anyways, going back to the sale portion of it, you know, I think that in looking at it, you know, Sprinkles is not worth a lot of money, going to continue to get worse. At the 54-month mark, I think she definitely should be sold. You know, look at an animal like Bubbles at 49 months, $5,849. You know, do you put the animal back in? Do you maximize your profit? It's pretty tough to say. But I think what we're learning here is that between 40 and 50 months, the animals are going to be at their peak value, and you want to try to get them sold then if you can. Let's check the water buffalo bulls. We're always looking for water buffalo bulls. They are terrible today. This is actually a pretty nice bull here. 6 months. We don't need them. So that was a bit of a long discussion, but I think with the mod, you have to look at your playthrough and decide what the future value of that animal is based on their ability to give you more offspring. I think that probably if you averaged it all out based on what we've seen and the numbers and all the experiences we've had on the Realistic Cattle Ranch Challenge so far, I think you have to get animals through 3 gestation periods. So they can become pregnant at, 12 months, and it's a 10-month gestation, or maybe it's 18 months, I think, maybe. So 18 months, so 10 months. So if you have 3 pregnancies with a 2-month recovery period, you're looking at basically a year per pregnancy. So that puts them just north of that 40-month mark. You know, I think that's the way it's going to have to be. I'm going to pull over here and let's just real quick. I bet if we pull into the cows, they'll stay at the bottom. older than 12 months can reproduce. So it is 12 months, and then you have 3 years, 12 months for each gestation, and then recovery. It's a 10-month gestation, and then a 2-month recovery before they get pregnant again. So you're really looking at the 48-month mark is probably your prime time to sell them. So I just talked myself into changing, how we're going to handle the cows here. So we're not going to sell the cows until they've had their 3rd pregnancy. So anything over 48 months that comes up in the birthing barn, we're going to look at selling. So that is the answer to the question that I was asked on one of our videos. Glad we got some real farm sim world data to look at and compare. But I do think that that's the way to go. You certainly could stretch it a little bit further and get one more pregnancy out of them. And if you get a really high quality animal that could be worth $5,000 or $6,000 itself, then maybe you've made some money. The risk is, as always, you could lose an animal to an accident or age or death, or you could just end up with, a very old animal that isn't worth very much. And I guess the other piece of the conversation we didn't really get into is, what if the animal has 2 or 3 babies instead of 1? It does really affect the future value of that animal. So at the end of the day, I think if you're running high quality animals, after that 3rd pregnancy at the 48 to 51 month mark, you should be looking at selling them. All right, good talk. We got that one done. Want to check real quick on our production items. We have eggs, which are best in November, and we have cheese that's best in October. Our buffalo mozzarella is best in October, so that's really going to be about it for what we could sell, and we don't have anything to sell this month, so that's not a big deal either. Okay, let's grab make sure these are all fed and have water right. You know what we didn't do today was we didn't spread any straw. I'm leaving the Fiat over here. Keep forgetting where I leave the Fiat, guys. It's hiding from me. After we get the straw in the pens, probably take a quick trip up to the BGA. The good news is, for those of you that are watching this right after watching the last episode, we do have items in the sale today. It's only 2, but we did get things back in the sale, which is good news. That was not working for us last month. Wasn't worried about it, but it was a little bit weird that it reset. So glad we got that figured out. So onward and upward with the straw. I think it's time to blow some straw in the calves' faces. Is something that probably one of the things that gets commented on the most of all the activities we do is the calf straw blowing. So we'll do that. We'll be gentle with them. We're not being abusive to the animals, obviously, but it is funny. They do sit right here and then they just get absolutely blasted with straw. Is it triggered? Not. Oh, is this taking it out, huh? Interesting. It's not even really letting me blow it this time, I guess. I think it's just filling up as we go. All right, let's jump out and check and see. Straw 1800. Straw 1800. Straw 1800 and straw 1800. So yeah, guys, we didn't even get to blow any straw on the calves' faces. For those of you that enjoy that, I'm sorry you didn't get to see it. For those of you that are worried about the calves, no calves were harmed in the making of this video. They're all very well treated. They're in their special huts. They get food and water every day, and they enjoy it. You can see the straw plane, plumping up there, filling up for us. And that one's all filled up. Excellent. Head into the big barn here. Let's get some straw spread. It is funny to me that the food plane on this barn goes down every day. You notice there's no food on the food plane for the cows to eat. But if we come in here and we look at the breeding barn, which is where we are, they have 193,754 liters of hay. So they have more hay than they know what to do with. They are not hungry by any means. But it is funny that it doesn't show up. If I throw a bale in here in the morning, the plane refills, but otherwise it just hangs out with nothing showing. So we'll get a bale. We'll get a couple more bales. We'll run through the birthing barn, and we'll throw some into Teen Town as well. I have been debating whether we should take the bullpen and make it an enclosed structure. You know, just wondering if that would, you know, if that would give us more manure, right? If that would help us make just a little bit of extra money. You know, we do have animals in there full time and they're not producing for us, so would give us an opportunity to get that done. Not sure we need to do that, but we will see. So let's get 3 of the remaining 6 bales out. I'd love to be able to back up to this and put them in, which is what I think these forks are for. So maybe we'll give it a try. Let's see if we can get, you know, squared up to it enough to have it make sense. I don't think it's going to work. I think the bales are going to go flying, which is, you know, not what we want, but we will give it the old college try, just see what we can get done here. Okay, so those are theoretically, okay, great, and yeah, okay, all 3 of them went right back into the shed. All right, guys, guess what? We gave it a try, it didn't work, we're moving on. We're going to pull them out, we'll get the mass. Yeah, actually, I'll probably just load them by hand at this point, keep things moving. We don't want hay, we want straw. Back to 3 bales. All right, let's grab our 3 bales. We maybe put 1 in this way, which is probably the way it's supposed to go in there. And then we put the other 2 across the top, front to back, being held in by the forks at the back. And then we'll have enough to get both Teen Town and the birthing barn done. So, forks up, holding stuff in, perfect. Teen Town, here's a little bit of straw for you. Get them all topped off, keep them producing. They don't produce a lot of manure in this barn. It feels like this barn may not produce as much manure as the rest of them. There are many fewer animals in it, but, you know, who knows? So they are all topped off. Didn't even take a full bale there. Run down to the birthing barn. We're going to have to get the mixer truck out of the way before we can pull down and hit the trigger. While we're dumping the straw, we can get the mixing wagon refilled at the TMR station. Really happy with this setup, the way this TMR station tucked in right along the side of the barn. Alright, they are all set. And let's take the Fiat down here and into the barn. Give them some straw. They may be getting closer to full, too. Oh, their straw plane's still pretty low, I guess. Let that next bale drop in there. Get that nice and sprout. There's a nice straw shower for you, honey. The animals don't seem to mind at all. Oh. We won't blast those calves. They are brand new. Wow, didn't even get to finish it all. That is a bit surprising. And look at that big pile of manure. It needs to go up to the BGA and be turned into methane and electricity for us and make us some money. So let's just dump the rest of this bale into the birthing barn. Get rid of it for now. All set. Perfect. Okay, so we'll get the... Oh, there's a tree. First person driving, not paying attention. Let's get the straw blower parked. You know, it does begin to feel like we need a little bit of a road here, guys. Just a connector. We keep coming this way. I try not to just put roads in for the sake of putting roads in. I try to make sure that I'm actually driving and using, you know, the area before cutting in a road. Because sometimes you think, oh, I'll drive this way and I'll go this way and I'll drive to the barn that way, and then you never do. But this thing always seems to, I thought I was going to be bringing it around the back of the shed here down this part of the road, and we just never do. So, all right. We're going to get rocking and rolling on our TMR. Make sure these lovely ladies are all topped off and fed and happy and content. It's a great looking barn. Try to get an inside view for you guys. Just a really cool barn. I like the fact that this barn has no outside for the birthing barn part. We don't really want them out in the wild. We want all the cattle and their calves protected inside, and then they go to the igloos. So glad that is the way this barn and this setup worked out. Really pleased with how the Cattle Ranch Challenge has worked out. You know, probably could have done things a little bit differently. There's always other options, but I think overall this was a really good setup for what we're trying to do. And I think even if we played past the 3,300,000 cows, you know, goal, this setup would continue to work for us. The only real challenge with this setup is those calf huts. We just need more of them. We could get a calf barn, something small, a little bit easier to take care of the animals, but the immersiveness of having those huts and being able to, you know, feed them by hand and move them and keep track of them and all that kind of stuff, I think is lost on a bigger barn. And I think the, you know, needing to take care of those huts every single day, get them mucked out every couple months, all that kind of stuff really has been a lot of fun for me and hopefully some good content for you guys. So, all right, we need to run down and check and see if we have some wood beams. If we do, we will get those up to the cabin. And guys, that may be it for this episode. That was just a, you know, sort of a big maintenance episode, keeping things moving. We have 6 wood beams, so we are good to go there. Let's grab the TLX and the step deck, and we will run over to the cabin. And I have one more mini project to do on the way over there. Got all of our chickens, 280 of them in there producing. So we got an escapee. What are you doing, bud? If you've ever owned chickens, you know there's always one getting out. It doesn't matter. It may not always be the same one or, you know, anything else, but there's always a chicken out trying to get back in. And that's the thing about chickens. When they get out, they just want to get back in. They don't want to be away from their friends. So it's just funny to me when they're all in there and one's out looking back in going, hey guys, wait a second, how'd I get out here? All right, this may have been a bad route to take. And we snake through the trees. Oh boy, that is tight. Man, oh man. Okay, well, you know, we did make it through the trees. Can't say it was a good choice, but it was a choice that we made. You want to know what? I think while we're here and presumably going to need more wood long term, I think this guy gets zipped down out of the way. Perfect. Made it right into the trigger. One of my favorite things about that mod. Okay, and let's... And we're going to have a hard time hooking this. I think we may need to square up in this opening over here. Once again, big equipment on the little farm. Okay. Let's just grab all of it for now. Did forget to slow time down there. Ooh, it got dark on us fast. Let's get some headlights on. Okay. Let's head up to the cabin and get this stuff dropped off. The one little project I want to do is going to be a bit tough with the low light, but we'll get it figured out. I was eyeballing a spot for a driveway running back to the cabin from behind the birthing barns. We stopped driving along the edge of the grass field, and I think there's a nice spot back there for us to sneak one in. So come through here. Maybe even use the headlights a bit to help get us situated. So the path to... Yep, it's right up there. So we're going to hit a quick save just in case, because it is getting a little bit dark, and we'll get this knocked out real quick. So here we go. Saved. Let's get into the construction menu. Go with our gravel. And our path needs to go right through here. Alright, so we just sort of widen it a little bit, going back and forth. Sort of that strip right there. This little section here. Alright, let's see. Come down. Let's connect through here. Sort of soften that corner up in case you want to come from the other side. Alright, so this is going to be the driveway to our cabin. We'll get up here and we'll figure out exactly where we want to have it hook and turn and everything else. But for right now, we're just going to leave it just like this. Go ahead and drop the straps. Alright, everything is in there. We are ending this episode exactly where we ended the last one, right in front of the place. Alright, so we have the required planks and beams in for the next step. We are in front of our cabin, ready to go. I am excited for this. And, you know, just a good episode of running around getting stuff done. Glad we got the sort of selling the cow thing figured out and some good timing and money on that. So hopefully you guys found that useful. Thank you so much for joining me today. Don't forget to drop a like and turn on notifications for more videos. Channel memberships are available if you'd like to support my content further. And members do get early access to upcoming videos. That's all for today, and I'll see you in the next one.